Here we go again, folks. Who would have thought that in 2024 we'd be reliving the Max Verstappen of years past? That impulsive guy who made us hold our breath with every overtake. Well, it seems like Mad Max is back and stronger than ever. But is it just a coincidence, or is there something more behind this? Today, we're diving deep into this story. We'll talk about the frustration of the three-time world champion, the immense pressure he's facing, and how this could completely change the landscape of Formula One from now on. Subscribe to the channel and get ready, because things are about to heat up. Let's start by recalling what happened at the Hungarian Grand Prix, folks. That battle between Verstappen and Hamilton was breathtaking, wasn't it? The two of them arrived at the turn together, their wheels touched, and you know what happened next. It felt like a flashback to 2021. But what really caught everyone's attention was Max's reaction afterward. The guy was furious. He cursed over the radio, complained about the team, and seemed like the Verstappen we knew at the start of his career. And it didn't stop there. Throughout the race, Max was on edge, complaining about the car, saying he couldn't take the corners properly, that the brakes were terrible. The frustration was so palpable you could feel it through the radio. His engineer, poor guy, tried to calm him down, but it didn't help. What we're seeing here, folks, is a world champion completely dissatisfied with his car's performance. And this is new for Red Bull, huh? It's been a while since we've seen the Austrian team in such trouble. But who would have thought that in 2024, we'd see McLaren flying like this? The orange car is simply blazing fast. Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri are doing whatever they want on the track. And we can't forget about Mercedes, right? Toto Wolff's team has finally got it right and is giving everyone a hard time again. Just imagine what's going through Verstappen's mind. The guy was used to starting at the front and only seeing others in his rearview mirror. Now he's having to fight hard just to stay in the top 5. That messes with anyone's psyche. And the worst part, Lewis Hamilton, his biggest rival, is back in the game with a competitive car. We can only imagine what this must stir in Max, seeing the 7-time champion fighting for wins again while he's struggling with a problematic car. This whole situation is putting immense pressure on Verstappen's shoulders. But he's a 3-time champion. He shouldn't be behaving this way. The guy is seeing the championship slip through his fingers, and it's making him revert to that more aggressive and risky driving style. It's like he's thinking, if the car doesn't help, I'll have to force it. And now we get to the point that's leaving everyone speechless. Verstappen's criticism of his own team. Folks, this is serious stuff. The guy isn't sparing anyone. At the Hungarian GP, he practically shouted over the radio, calling the team's strategy ridiculous. Can you believe it? Things got so tense that even Gianpiero Lambiase, Max's race engineer, who has always had a good relationship with him, lost his patience. He went as far as calling Verstappen childish. Imagine the scene, the 3-time world champion being called a child by his own engineer. This kind of situation is a ticking time bomb for any team. Red Bull has always been known for having a calm environment, with everyone united around Max. Now, with these public criticisms, the atmosphere must be pretty tense behind the scenes. And let's not forget about the Constructors' Championship. Red Bull is leading, but with Perez in a slump, it's practically only Max scoring points for the team. If he continues with this negative vibe, criticizing the team, it could affect everyone's performance. It's a delicate situation that Red Bull will have to manage very carefully in the upcoming races. And as if this situation weren't complicated enough, let's talk about Max's recent results. Folks, we're witnessing something we haven't seen in a long time. 3 consecutive races without a win. 3. We're seeing a Red Bull that was once dominant now facing problems. It feels like we're in a parallel universe, doesn't it? But things could get even worse. You know that pending engine penalty? Well, there's a good chance it will be applied at Spa. At Spa, of all places. That circuit Max loves, where he's had epic races. Just imagine, starting from the back, having to make a comeback in such a delicate moment of the season. It's enough to keep anyone up at night. And let's not forget about the other side of the Red Bull garage. Perez is going through a rough patch. The Mexican can't seem to find his rhythm, always struggling at the back, fighting just to get into the points. This puts even more pressure on Max because he knows he's basically the only one consistently scoring points for the team. This combination of factors, poor results, an imminent penalty, and a teammate in a slump, is the perfect recipe to push any driver to the limit, and we're seeing this reflected in Max's behavior both on and off the track. Now let's talk about the possible consequences of all this. First, there's the FIA. We know they've always been somewhat, let's say, lenient with Verstappen, but will that stance continue if he fully reverts to Mad Max mode? With these recent collisions, it wouldn't be surprising if the Federation starts paying more attention to our Dutch friend. And what about Red Bull? Christian Horner and the team must be having some tense meetings behind the scenes. After all, Verstappen is their guy, the star of the team. But how long will they tolerate this explosive behavior? At some point, they might have to pull him aside for a serious talk, you know? Then there's another interesting point. Max's future with the team. Some people are already speculating that if the situation continues like this, he might start looking at other teams. That would be quite the twist. But hold on. Let's not get too carried away. Verstappen is contracted with Red Bull until 2026, but we all know how things work in F1, right? Sometimes contracts are worth as much as toilet paper when a driver really wants to leave. The fact is, we're seeing a three-time champion at a crossroads. Max is in a situation he's never faced before. A car that's not as competitive, rivals closing in, and immense pressure to maintain the dominance he's shown in recent years. And here we reach the crucial point. What defines a true champion? Is it just the ability to drive fast when everything is going well? Or is it the capacity to keep a cool head when things get tough? Verstappen is in a phase that will define much of his career. If he can overcome this rough patch, show maturity, and come back stronger, he could solidify himself as one of the greatest. But if he lets frustration take over, if he reverts to being that impulsive driver of the past, it could tarnish the image he's built over the last few years. What we're seeing here, folks, is more than just a slump. It's a test of character, of resilience. It's the kind of moment that separates good drivers from true icons of the sport. And it's not just Verstappen being tested. Red Bull as a team is also in a delicate situation. How will they deal with a dissatisfied star driver? How will they balance Max's needs with those of the rest of the team? The decisions they make in the coming weeks could define the direction of the championship. And what about you? What do you think will happen? Will Max bounce back, or will we see more tense moments? Will Red Bull manage to turn things around, or is 2024 the year their reign comes to an end? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and activate notifications. The season is heating up, and you won't want to miss a single detail. Until next time, folks.